Talking cotton now and the challenging growing year for producers in Oklahoma and Texas that seriously impacted harvest. To learn more, we caught up with Gary Strickland in the Jackson County OSU Extension office.
Well, Lyndall, as you can imagine, it wasn't the harvest that we were hoping for. If you just look at USDA numbers for Oklahoma in general, if you start out in the August report and what they were forecasting, we might harvest about 260,000 acres, which was going to be 41% down from 21. In 21, they showed 440,000 acres harvested, and they were predicting yields of around 498 pounds an acre. If you fast forward then to December report and look at it as it finished up, we actually harvested maybe a few more acres than what they thought, but our yields were significantly lower than what they were anticipating. The east side of the southwest region down here, the east side probably looks a little bit better. It was a little bit better harvest. In fact, some of the gens that did show some production were getting cotton material coming more from the eastern side of the southwest region of the state. But the more you head west in the southwest region, the worse it got. And now I'd say that carries right on over into the Texas Panhandle too. So it's been a really rough year when it comes to cotton harvest, and you trace it all the way back to that drought that we were experiencing through the winter and heading into early spring.
Now, talk a little bit more about the drought and obviously setting up into planting time, but then it lingered on. And like you said, it's just so exceptionally dry that it really couldn't get the start that it needed, right?
And that's exactly right. I think one of the differences, a lot of comparisons have been made between this dry period and back to 2011 when we started into that drought cycle. One of the differences was how deep we were dry. I've made the comparison at several meetings that we were preparing in April for land judging contests and dug pits down to 40-something inches and never hit moisture. And what you would see in the topsoil profile, or say from, let's say, 2 to 10 inches in there, is that we would move them for about 5 to 6 days, and then they'd drop right back down to dry again. So we were so dry that the rains we were getting weren't lasting very long, and they weren't being very effective. Now, right at the end of May, 1st of June, we got some rain. We got some rain to kind of get us established, get the cotton up and growing. But boy, from the last half of, about the 10th day of June on through middle August, we just went absolutely hot and dry. And so our cotton never was able to get growing and responding out there. And when you talk about dry conditions, Lyndall, especially if you look at the irrigation district down this southwest region, all of those acres were dryland acres this year. We didn't have enough water in the lake to release water to irrigate with. So irrigated acres that were harvested down here had to be harvested off of center pivots and or well systems that might be supplying a drip system or something in there. But even then, our wells down here, certainly as you headed to the west side of this area down here, we had wells that were starting to run dry and pump dry, at the end. And so we were really limited on the amount of water we got.
When you talk about the yields and the challenges with drought, of course, there has to be an emotional toll or an emotional impact for the growers and probably for the community at large. Is there a ripple effect when it's been a season like this down in your area?
Absolutely, and that's a really good point. Most your ag producers are in this to make a crop and be profitable, but also be productive in their system. So it's very frustrating to them when you have to deal with years like this and deal with these dry conditions. Now we're in an area where we deal with dry conditions on that. We recognize we're in an arid area. But when we're lacking rainfall like we did this year, certainly it has an impact on everybody's outlook.
So you and your colleagues at Texas A&M are also planning an event coming up soon, an annual event that we all look forward to. Give us some details on that.
Lyndall, this is something when you and I have talked about having done these interviews for several years now. You did one of the very first interviews with me on the Red River Crops Conference at its inception. We're into our 10th annual Red River Crops Conference this year. And the 2023 Crops Conference is going to be held at Childress, Texas, at the Childress Events Center on January 18th and 19th. You can check the Jackson County OSU Extension website and download a brochure and registration form there. You can also check with most of your extension offices in this area and get a registration form for that conference if you want to pre-register. But we certainly welcome registration at the door. In fact, the bulk of what we see at the conference is registration at the door the day of the conference. And registration, Lyndall, has stayed the same since we started the conference. It's $25, and that gets you both days.
Well, sounds fantastic. Certainly an all-star lineup again this year, and we will have a link for our viewers who want to learn more or go ahead and register at sunup.okstate.edu. Well, Gary, great talking with you. As always, our best wishes from SUNUP to all the producers down in your region, and Happy New Year to you and all of our colleagues there at the Extension Office.
Thank you, Linda. Enjoyed being with you today.